Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our MESat bulletin, and we shall start with our headlines. France says analysis shows Syrian regime behind sarin attack. Turkish opposition to challenge referendum at European Court. And moving on to our details, starting with the Syrian profile. France Foreign Minister said on Wednesday that the chemical analysis of samples taken from a deadly sarin gas attack in Syria earlier this month bears the signature of President Bashar al-Assad's government and shows it was responsible for the deadly assault. According to Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault, France came to this conclusion after comparing samples from a sarin attack in Syria from 2013 that matched the new ones. Ayrault added that France knows from sure sources that the manufacturing process of the sarin that was sampled is typical to the method developed in Syrian laboratories. Meanwhile, the Kremlin denounced the French report, saying the samples and the fact the nerve agent was used are not enough to prove who was behind it. Speaking to reporters in Moscow, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia's position on the attack is unchanged and that the only way to establish the truth about what happened near Idlib is an impartial international investigation. It's worth mentioning that Russia has previously urged for an international probe, and Peskov expressed regret that the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, or OPCW, has turned down the Syrian government's offers to visit the site of the attack and investigate. In relation to the context, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov earlier Wednesday said the U.S. airstrike at the Syrian military base damages the prospects of a political settlement for the war-torn country. Lavrov told the security conference in Moscow that U.S. response pushes the prospect for a wide international front on terror even further away. He also dismissed claims that international experts cannot visit the site in Khan Shaykhun because of security precautions. Lavrov also said claims that the experts were warned by a UN body against traveling to the location because it's unsafe are lies. On to Ankara, Turkey's main opposition party says it will challenge the outcome of the country's April 16th referendum on expanding the president's powers at the European Court of Human Rights. The pro-secular Republican People's Party is contesting the referendum over a number of irregularities, including a controversial electoral board decision to count ballot papers that lacked official stamps. From another perspective, the decision to take the issue to the Strasbourg, France-based court came on Wednesday, a day after Turkey's High Administrative Court rejected its bid to have the decision overturned. On the other side of the world, the Russian counterintelligence agency on Wednesday announced the arrest of two suspected supporters of the Islamic State group who, it said, were planning a terror attack. The two men were arrested in an apartment in a city on the Pacific island of Sakhalin, where a search turned up a homemade explosive device and IS propaganda literature, according to what the FSB said. The agency also said one of the suspects is a citizen of Russia and the other of one of the former Soviet republics in Central Asia, adding that the two men arrested were planning to carry out a terror attack. On to Kiev, Ukrainian authorities said on Wednesday 3 of its troops have been killed and 4 wounded in eastern Ukraine in an apparent flare-up of fighting between government troops and separatists. The press office for the Ukrainian government's operation in the east said their positions came under fire 65 times in the 24 hours to early Wednesday. It appeared to be the worst loss of lives reported in weeks. On the other hand, in the rebel stronghold of Donetsk, a rebel commander said that one of its fighters was killed and 2 wounded in shelling by Ukrainian troops on Tuesday. And moving on to our economic news, the European Union's head office says Greece is delivering on its fiscal targets and that an agreement to hand more bailout cash to Athens could come next month. EU Commission Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis said on Wednesday that Greece continues to show progress on its budget targets and held out hope of an agreement between Greece and its bailout creditors from the 19-country Eurozone and the International Monetary Fund soon. Once this happens, Dombrovskis said, one could expect also decisions on disbursement, potentially during the May Eurogroup. From another aspect, Greece and its creditors are in discussions in Athens this week over the way ahead. Meanwhile, shares were mixed in Europe on Thursday after another day of gains in Asia. Britain's FTSE 100 lost 0.1% to 7,272.31, while France CAC 40 added 0.1% to 5,283.04. Germany's DAX was steady at 12,463.31. Wall Street looked set for a tepid start, with the futures up 0.1% and S&P futures down less than 0.1%. On the other hand, Japan's Nikkei 225 jumped up 1.1% to 19,289.43, and the Shanghai Composite Index was up 0.2% to 3,140.85. And finally, sports news. Top-seeded Andy Murray advanced to the third round at the Barcelona Open after Bernard Tomic withdrew from the tournament on Wednesday. Tomic, who needed 3 sets to defeat Dustin Brown in the first round on Tuesday, said he would not be able to face Murray because of a lower back injury. From another aspect, the top-ranked Murray was originally going to skip the Barcelona Open but decided to play after being eliminated in the third round at the Monte Carlo Masters, when he blew a 4-0 lead in the deciding set to Albert Ramos Vinolas. And before ending our news, let's take another look at the most important headlines for today. France says analysis shows Syrian regime behind sarin attack. Turkish opposition to challenge referendum at European Court. And we reached the end of our MESat bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us.